In other news, one of R. Kelly's co-defendants testified for a second day.
Former business manager Daryl McDavid said that he feels embarrassed for believing Kelly's previous denials of sexual impropriety with underage girls. McDavid said he learned a lot of things during the trial he was previously unaware of. He stopped short of saying he believed Kelly was guilty in the case. McDavid, along with Kelly and another man, are charged with producing and receiving child pornography. He also faces a charge of obstruction of justice related to Kelly's 2008 trial in Cook County when he was acquitted of child porn charges. Kelly was convicted last year of racketeering and sex trafficking in a courtroom in New York. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison on those charges.
Reporter Jim DeRogatis has been reporting on R. Kelly for more than 20 years. He's also the author of the book Solace, The Case Against R. Kelly, and he joins us live on Zoom this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry, Robin.
What do you make of McDavid's testimony?
Well, that declaration that he was embarrassed and he learned a lot of things only at this trial came in the last couple of minutes, literally, of direct examination that lasted 10 hours. Before that, he was completely unaware of Kelly abusing minors. He believed him innocent all through the 2008 trial, although he was paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to people for videotapes. He believed those were either fake or did not show Kelly abusing minors. It stretches credulity. Today, the prosecutors have their chance at cross-examination. All of my colleagues who have been covering this trial are expecting it to be brutal, is the word I think the Tribune used this morning. You know, his first manager, the man who brought Kelly from literally singing at backyard barbecues to selling hundreds of millions of records, Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's uncle, resigned as Kelly's manager, ceding that role to McDavid in 2000. And he was on the record with letter and emails to Kelly's attorneys and the head of Jive Records saying, this man has a problem, a compulsion to pursue underage girls, and I can no longer abide working with him. He needs help. That's, I think, one of the most concrete pieces of evidence. There are many others that McDavid, one would think, would have been aware of.
R. Kelly attorney Steve Greenberg was with us earlier in the week, and he stated that, you know, a lot of these testimony of girls are being called into question because they've changed their story over the years. What do you think the impact of that will be on the jury?
Robin, I think having seen the video and heard some very credible testimony from 4 victims at this trial, look, let's step back. There were 22 victims in the Brooklyn trial for which Kelly is sentenced to 30 years. There were 4 victims in this trial. There have been a dozen civil lawsuits. There are many other videos in addition to the ones shown in court. I mean, this accumulation of evidence, all these women cannot be lying. And when events are 20, 25 years ago, memory clouds and conflicts are told. And yes, the prosecution could have been a bit more thorough in pointing out some discrepancies in testimony versus lawsuits or other things, you know, but at the end of the day, everybody knew this man. Everybody in Chicago, go to the South or West Sides and ask people. This was never a secret from the early 90s on.
Jim, real quick, last you were on, our viewers heard that you were going to be called to testify. What happened to that?
The judge ruled that the questions Bonjean, Kelly's defense attorney, and McDavid's 2 defense attorneys wanted to ask me, I had already written about and put in the public record many times. He saw no relevance, and it was a win for the First Amendment, Larry, because every time a journalist is compelled to take the stand and talk about their work, is chipping away at the reporter's privilege and putting a damper on others who would tell complicated stories like this, whether it's me, you, Sam Charles in your shop, who's done extraordinary work, any of us.
All right, Jim DeRogatis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jim.
You bet.
7:37.